if God became a man, how could he die and how could he eat food? Because he's God.
Yeah, the second one is from Surah 575. It's above God to have such things attributed to
Right.
him. The response is, again, when we say that God became flesh, we're talking about him doing something in history, not what he is by nature. The best point of comparison is to point them to their own Qurans, because they believe that the Quran is something that is not physical by nature. It was sent down to a physical world. There's an eternal tablet in gold where the Quran exists eternally. I'm not sure which version it is, but we'll get to that in a moment. Maybe next week. We're running out of time. But the point being made is this. This Quran is made of paper, glue, and ink. These are things that can be damaged. These are things that can age. These are things that can have lots of sticky notes put on it. And ultimately, it's something that will fall apart. Does that mean that the eternal Quran has ceased to exist in heaven because this physical manifestation has been damaged? The answer is no. So why is it when your entity that has divine attributes, like being eternal, when it enters this physical world isn't a contradiction? But if God enters this world in flesh and physically dies or physically eats food, the sort of things flesh does, why is that suddenly a problem? It's something that if they were to apply consistently would throw out Islam itself. And
Which
also
is why we needed to articulate the hypostatic union.
Yeah, and that's worth a question in its own time. Also note, in Sunnah ibn Majah 3781, the Quran's going to appear as a pale man. So it's also not going to be limited to just paper, glue, and ink. It's going to take on flesh. Something eternal will take on flesh. In Surah 20, 9 through 14, when Allah appears to Moses, guess what? The fire says, I am Allah. It doesn't say on behalf of Allah. It's not the angel Gabriel. Allah himself speaks through something in creation. If Allah can become a chemical reaction, why is it that he can't become flesh? That's what we're claiming as Christians. And also note, and this is just the third and final point, we'll deal with the other 5 on a later date, when we die, according to Islam or Christianity, do we cease to exist? The answer is no. We return to God. So if God were to physically die, why do you suddenly pretend like we're atheists? That's not what we mean by God.
He doesn't cease to exist, nor does his nature ever disappear or change. Yeah.
Right.